Daddy long that game. And shout out to Red Light Crew.
Hey, you're one of 12 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
Yeah, you know what? To find that better, I think the key there is... I just lost my trend of thought.
All right, here we go. Episode 138 of Nation Real Life. I'm Tyler Yaremchuk. Wanye is in here. Chalmers in here. Baggedmilk's in here. We got another special guest, and I'll get to him in a minute because do you remember that episode of Big Brother a few weeks ago where the episode started live and Julie was like, you are not going to believe what's been going on in this house, and everything happened like right before the episode? That's us right now with this whole Chumgate thing. It's been building up for a week. Jay's now left the country. Chalmers has now brought in a witness, and it's going to be some sort of weird court thing going on in here. I still don't even really know what's going on, and it's kind of driving me nuts. But if you've missed Chumgate up to this point, here's kind of what happened. Chalmers joined this fishing derby. He wins it 2 of his 5 years, but in one of the years, it's contested because there's been accusations of someone chumming the water, and they say that's how Chalmers was able to win. It's been a shit show now for about 2 episodes whenever we bring this thing up. Jay was accusing Chalmers when he wasn't here. Now Jay's not here, so Chalmers wants a little bit of revenge. So he's brought in Chalmers Lavin. I said that right, Sean?
Yes, you did, yeah.
All right, so Sean is the only ever 5-time Angler Cup champion. He's also one of the people who has been co-accused with Chalmers.
He is the co-accusant, yep. Co-defendant
in the Chumgate incident. He's the holder of the record for most career catches as well with 315 fishes. Sean, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Happy to be here, also known as Jerry Macaroni.
Yeah, that's Jerry Macaroni from the last one we were talking about. So to give you a little bit of a heads up as to who exactly he is, when I first started fishing, I was on his boat. And that was when Jay said that I would, constantly beg to be on this person's boat because they were the best fishermen in the derby. Well, his boat was the only one that had a spot on it. Anyways, I've fished with him every year. I learned his techniques. He's the best. I don't even use his techniques, but he is the best fisherman in our fishing derby. And, when we went out in the year in question of Chumgate, it was me and him on the boat with the new guy, the guy that we call the new guy, who is the guy to have gone after the derby and say they really started to bite when we were chumming. They really started to bite once we chummed, which I don't remember him saying, but this is what started the whole shit show known as Chumgate.
Now, before you interview Lavin, Wanye here in the mic, Chalmers. I want to give a little bit more context too. Yeah. So if you have a crew of buddies, you've got like your shady index for your friends, and some of your friends are shady, and you're like, you know what? I wouldn't necessarily lend that guy $1,000 and expect to see it next Thursday. Then you got the far end of the spectrum where guys like Lavin are on, where if Lavin says you've done something wrong, you crumble because his morals and his ethics are so good.
Absolutely.
Similarly, if he says nothing's wrong, I would tend to believe him because he's a very ethical man.
Yes.
So you're thinking about your boys at home, your buddies, and you're like, oh yeah, I got that buddy who's like not shady. He's a very reputable man, business owner, lives life by the book, straight edge fellow. That's the character of the man we're dealing with today.
Yeah, and so what we're going to do with him right now is I'm going to let him just talk. I'm not going to basically steer him in any direction. We haven't taught. He is not a man that's going to be swayed to one way or another. He's going to tell you the way that it is, the way that he sees it, and that's all I wanted from this. And so to give it one last little bit before he starts, the year before Chumgate, I won with 11 fish, and I killed it. The next year, me, the new guy, and Jerry Macaroni, a.k.a. Sean Lavin, were on a boat together. Sean Lavin won that year with 20 fish. The new guy came in, the new guy came in second with 19, and I came in third with 18. Our friend who hosts the derby came in fourth, and it bit him. It hurt him that he came in fourth to this boat. Anyways, this is where I'm going to let Lavin take it from here. He's got some stuff prepared. I would like you to tell us, Lavin, in your opinion, how did you feel once Chumgate was accused on us, and what happened after that? In your vision, just tell us what you think.
Where do I start here?
Where do you start with a saga like this?
It was a dagger. It was a dagger through the heart because the intentions, and this is where it all got carried away. Like in our group of friends, when somebody messes up or you do something, you'll pay for it for sure. And when this happened, the intentions of chucking a couple minnows into the water for the gods was not to attract fish and win, because just the science from our end doesn't kind of add up to that. And then it comes through and we start getting accused of cheating and chumming. And, I'm laughing at what you said there. It was, just a whole frenzy of accusations and debate. And with this crew, when you're arguing with one another, the harder you lean in one way, the harder the other guys lean in the other way. And they sometimes, you can get choked out if you're 3 against whatever.
And so what happened right afterwards was when we left the Derby, there was some talk about this. And, the guys were kind of going, what the hell's going on here? Why does he keep saying chumming? Right after that, what happened between a group of people, not including us?
Well, when they started their immediate group chat?
Yes.
Here's one of my favorite parts about that group chat that started up. This is how leaky the foundation was on the other side. Within about 3 days, maybe 36 hours, we had moles coming to us. We had our own group chat.
We sure did.
Each one of us had moles coming in telling us how wild the other side is. We're with you guys. I'll feed you as much information as I can. Like,
how many guys are we talking here? Like, just in general?
Oh, at that point, we're probably 14
There was
guys.
14 of us in the thing, and I had no less than 4 people come to me and say, these guys are nuts. And this is what's happening, and I'll tell you everything they say. It's crazy.
So at this point, we've got a small group accusing.
I think in that group chat were the 3 people that were hard strung against us doing this. And then they combined it with the other, maybe, let's say 6 or 7 to 8 guys that were kind of, probably about 10 guys in that group chat, except for me, Lavin, and the new guy.
And Jay is Jay part of the initial accusers at this point?
Oh, he's number 2. He's number 2.
He's number 2.
He's the assistant to whatever the general would be.
Okay, go on.
Love Jay's hyperboles, by the way. These are fun to listen to. Hey, at the end of the day, there was the whole you cheated to win, and when you look at the definition of chumming, which I brought, here
like
today,
18-point font too.
Yeah,
nice gauge paper. This is a guy's got his shit together, Chalmers.
Merriam-Webster, we have here. It's funny though, Charles. The first definition of chum is to room together, to be a close friend.
That's
that sounds nice.
Friendsgate.
Maybe we are chumming. We are all chums.
We did not behave that way. No. But here we get into where we're at, to attract with chum, to throw chum overboard to attract fish. So we threw chum overboard.
So is chumming the verb, I've chummed the water by throwing a ton of minnows, or is chumming what you call the little minnows?
It is a verb.
So you chum the water by throwing handfuls. Doesn't matter how many you throw.
Meat, whatever it is, per the definition. But
Gotcha.
To attract fish is the dagger to the heart of Charles. The intensity that we get in the last episode, to me, it's like, wait a second here. Is that really attracting fish? Because there's a few things that are quite funny. These things float. They eventually do thaw and sink. There's seagulls all around us eating them off the water. When walleye are below the water, what's really going on here? Are these things really attracting fish? And in past years, I've watched a tub of minnows slide off of a Mastercraft boat and into the water. I look over at 2 guys kind of smiling and like, what's going on over here? Because they're drunk. And they didn't win. If they won that year, hell to pay. It would have been Chumgate Rev 1. The fact that we're doing this, there's 3 guys placed 1, 2, and 3 on the boat with this group of friends and how we like to behave with one another. The rest is here we are today.
So Lavin is a man of excellent character. You don't think that you and Charles and the other cat were cheating. You'll acknowledge that you tossed a couple fish into the water, but you don't think you cheated.
It did not influence our win. I do not think we cheated.
So I'm of the mind what Lavin says is probably the most reasonable take in all of this. If Lavin says we threw a couple fish into the water to appease the fishing gods, whomst are real, by the way, it's Poseidon, I'm starting to take his side. Chalmers?
I just got to ask a question. So, you said there was only a few fish thrown into the water as kind of like a sacrifice to the gods or whatever. Is this overblown immediately in that it's the volume of the fish thrown in was bumped up immediately? Or are we acknowledging off the hop that it was 3 or 4 minnows or whatever it was?
No, and it's always one. It's always one, because the whole thing about fishing derby out there is that you never know if you're going to catch 30 in a round or 5 in a round. Therefore, when you have a tub of minnows, you only have so many. I'm not a guy that if it gets hot is willing to waste any minnows. I need them all. And you know you're going to lose some, right? So I go out there. Sometimes I'll take 2 because I just never know if you're going to run out. The same reason why I take a suitcase-sized tackle box and probably only use 1 jig head and 1 jig body if it's working. If it's not working, I'll put on something different, right? But the fact is we are so cautious because this thing is so serious that I wouldn't waste minnows to chum the waters to get the fish to come. I threw 1, just like Lavin did, just like Josh did. It was more of like us two with the new guy sitting there and being like, you know what, Josh, this is a little thing we do. You know, you're in this now, man. You're with us. You know, this is a little thing we do pre-round. We throw a fish in, we say for the gods, and we let the rest lie with them.
So now I think we should get to the fun part.
Sure.
You've said your piece.
Yep.
Lavin's now said his piece.
Yep.
And we actually had Jay on the line the whole time from Amsterdam.
With 20,000 steps on his fucking Pinot.
It's 10 o'clock there or something?
Fuckers.
Jay, I want to give you credit off the start for sitting on mute very politely, letting Chalmers say his piece,
he's got
letting
nothing better to do.
Lavin say his piece. So now we want to give the floor to you.
I'm sitting on the couch in my hotel room. I've got a nice, tall, cold Heineken, freshly cracked. This has been good listening so far. It's always nice when I can hear Lavin's voice, and that, you know, I'm happy now that I can say my piece. I was patient, and you know, there's a lot of things said on the other side, and not a lot of it wrong, but there are some flaws, and I've got some things I need to add to that.
Well, I do see, Jay, that as you were waiting patiently with the mute button, your Twitter account was not silent.
Yes, I was live tweeting some of the quotes Jerry Macaroni said. That if I quoted verbatim, very damning things he said.
So just to recap Jay's tweets, he did have his first one just in from Jerry Macaroni, when we threw minnows in the water, quote unquote. And then the second one was, we threw chum in the water, quote unquote.
We've never denied that.
We only denied cheating for the purpose of cheating.
Exactly.
So, but okay, well then we might have to define what cheating is, because there's people that watch PGA Tour events that call in if a guy marks his ball 1 millimeter from where it's supposed to be. It's to defend the sanctity of the event, of the game. And we know, as we already established, you guys have done a great job setting the stage of what the Angler Cup is to us and how serious we take it. And that is what needs to be defended.
So as they're walking through their version of the story, Jay, like, what is your major kind of point of contention? As I'm watching this right now, Chalmers and Lavin are passing notes back to each other. I from what I understand as an outsider looking in, they are co-accusators or
yes.
Co-defendants?
So there's a common.
I'm not sure what it's
there's
called.
There's a common theme with the accused. They like to get together and try to get their story straight, because when they're not, it is pear-shaped and just seems like they're very guilty. And I'm going to get into the story that touches based on that. I as well was not able to bring someone into the room, but I also have a testimony from the accusers from that day. It's kind of lengthy, but it's very detailed and breaks out the day, just basically minuscule. So we'll see. We'll save his name as anonymity. But Jerry, I also went online and got the definition of chumming to recite to everyone today. So I've got chumming is the practice of luring various animals, usually fish, by throwing quote unquote chum into the water. Chum is bait which attracts fish.
So you don't buy the sacrifice for the gods angle whatsoever.
Well, that's what we're getting. We need to dig into the truth on, because I don't know how they're saying 1 minnow each, and we've got testimony and vivid memories of seeing more than just 3 minnows floating around that boat that July 25th, 2015.
Can I jump in here, Jay, with a little bit of tub math?
I would like to hear some tub math.
Minnow tub math. How many minnows are in a tub of minnows? And we all go maybe 30. And we all row out. Yeah, we all go out there with a tub to 2 each, depending on how hot the fish is. And we've got 14 guys that year. We start doing the tub math. That's a lot of minnows. And we're not catching 30 fish each with the tub. We're losing a pile of them. And when they're still a little frozen, they do float up to the top. They eventually thaw, slowly sink down too. Tub math can lend a lot of minnows to the surface too.
That's fair. I'll allow tub math to play a factor in this, but I'm going to get into this testimony. So I'm going to recite again my definition of chumming that I pulled off online. Chumming is the practice of luring various animals, usually fish, by throwing chum into the water. Chum is bait, which attracts fish. So now let's just go from our side, what led to hashtag Chumgate. The third person who was not in the room that was in your boat that day used the term, we chummed the waters on multiple occasions.
But as a man of hyperbole as you are, you would recognize
that's
perhaps
verbatim.
But you don't think maybe he was bumping it up a little bit?
Well, I think if we throw a fish into the water, we wouldn't use the word chum, especially in the Angler Cup. So I'm going to recite this testimony that I have, if I may. I ask for your patience. This is going to probably be very painful for me, but I'm going to get through it. So this is from another one of the accusers on our side of the argument. It was July 25th, 2015. I remember this day like it was yesterday. We had just invited 3 new guys out to the 12th annual Angler Cup. It was a massive expansion. 2 veterans, Chalmers and Macaroni, took out one of the new guys on the Lund, a 3-man fishing boat. Through 2 one-hour rounds, it was like another derby. It was like any other derby. Some fish, some beers, and some sunshine. The leader had 13 fish. Chalmers had 12, tied with another guy 12. Macaroni had 9, and the other guy in their boat, if we can name him Josh, if not, your Chuck, edit that, had 7 heading into the final hour of fishing. As we embarked on the 3rd round, the Macaroni/Chalmers boat headed out early before the other boats went out to get their spot. Not something uncommon for Macaroni. He was always heading out early, trying to find a good spot. We always fish in the same general area where we can see the other boats, but are always a little ways apart at times, especially early in the fishing legs until someone finds a hot spot, and then all the boats sort of swarm the hot boat. What happened in the next hour was unprecedented. It never happened before, and still something that has never happened again in all 16 years of the Angler Cup. I remember seagulls flocking above the boats like we were deep sea fishermen in the middle of the ocean, like you'd see on that show Deadliest Catch. I remember numerous comments from guys on our boat, like, what the hell is going on? This is so weird. As the Macaroni Chalmers boat began to heat up with fish biting, the other boats drew closer to them. I remember seeing more minnows in the water, way more than usual, and guys making comments about the minnows and the seagulls diving down numerous times. I thought it was the apocalypse. It felt so weird. The Macaroni Chalmers boat eventually ran away with it with a 3rd leg, and Chalmers and Macaroni went into sudden death overtime with Macaroni winning. It was a tremendous finish. All 3 guys in the Macaroni boat finished 1, 2, and 3 with 20, 19, and 18 fish respectively. Everyone congratulated Macaroni like they would any other champion. We went for the celebratory boat drive, and the new champ shared a few beers before heading in. There was zero discussion or speculation of any wrongdoing. Zero. We were all happy for Macaroni and talked about the big comeback from their boat in the 3rd leg. As a former champion myself, this is him and me as well. This applies as good, multiple time champion, not a big deal, but anyways. As a former champion myself, I was very happy a past champ had won and kept it in the family. Us champs are a tight group. As everyone descended on the cabin to wrap up the day, get in some warm clothes, and grab a fresh beer, I was the last man helping to tie up the boat with Macaroni and the 3rd member of the championship boat. And there is a photo. Doesn't matter. Here's a pic of here's a pic. Yeah. So, and it's a photo of Macaroni holding the cup. I think you're in your underwear on the boat. I can't recall.
Probably, yeah.
I took this picture at the time of the convo.
Can you
of the
just
new champ.
interject very, very quickly? Can you send this photo in so we can post it as part of our 360?
Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will. I had to take this testimony out and put it into a Word document so it's easier to read.
Yeah, just the photos.
So the photo didn't translate.
Yeah.
But I'll send the photo.
Carry on.
As long as macaroni doesn't care,
because
you are
sure.
short.
Self in a photo, don't you? Yeah, Macaroni's got the gift.
I'll check it out.
You're all right. You're all right. Keep
going. We'll get a shirt on you.
We'll digitally put a shirt.
I took this picture at the time of the convo of the new champ. We talked about OT, the big win, and how their boat got hot in the third leg. What came next changed the Derby forever. The new guy said, the new guy said, in quotation marks, yeah, it was crazy. As soon as we chummed the water, within 10 minutes, the fish just started hitting. A very odd statement, but one that I just kind of laughed and carried on. I didn't say anything to them. I didn't want to smear Macaroni's win with controversy. We headed up to the cabin and continued on with the night. It did still strike me as a very odd comment, especially with the other very odd things that went on in the third round with the seagulls and the many minnows floating in the water as we got closer to the boat. Normally, you maybe see 1 or 2 random minnows in the water that fall off a guy's hook. This was like 10 or 15 in the water at all times with seagulls swooping down. It was nagging at me, but I didn't want to say anything.
That's a complete lie.
Just wait. I finished 4th. I didn't want to be that guy claiming I could have won if not for the cheating. What a sore loser I would be. But I did feel like I had to tell someone, so I told Jay and one other guy at one point during the night what I was told by the third member of the Macaroni Chalmers boat. They too found it a little too coincidental and peculiar, but I said, let's just keep it to ourselves and not taint this. It wouldn't be right, even though things were starting to become a little suspect. We all tucked into bed without another mention. The next morning, we were sitting around sharing some more laughs about the weekend as everyone is now picking up to head home when the third member of the boat, Josh, I don't know if I should mention him, says it again. Direct quote to the entire group of 15 guys. Yeah, it was crazy. As soon as we chummed the water, within 10 minutes, the fish just started hitting. Then that obviously raises some ears and others start to pipe up like, what? Repeat that again? And Chumgate was off and running. Everyone knew what they saw on the water yesterday. The debate was on, except the 3 in... Oh, shit, I'm butchering this. The debate was on, except the 3 involved really had not much to say. I took notes in my phone of quotes that morning so that we could reflect back if needed. Here they are. Chalmers so guilty, super quiet that morning, had trouble even talking. I just thought everyone did it. I didn't know we couldn't. That was quotation. Chalmers said that. Josh said nothing after. Labs tried claiming it was only 2 minnows. The 3 then hurried into the truck together, conveniently offering to help pull out a boat out of the water. The 3 then hurried into the truck together, conveniently offering to help pull a boat out of the water at the boat launch. When they came back, their statements were, we just threw a couple fish to the gods. That's what we always do. Which maybe they do that every year, but yesterday was like no other. It was very different. It is my belief that a lot of things happened that day to make it all a little more than coincidence. To summarize, everyone noted the seagulls in the third round as new and crazy, not after the win or round. Everyone noted the numerous minnows in the water at that time, not after the win or the round. We had a big comeback where all 3 fishermen in the boat catch complete fire together. We then had not one, but 2 unprovoked confessions of chumming the water, one coming a full night's sleep after the first. We find it really hard to believe tossing a minnow or 2 to the fishing gods for good luck would be something I would find so important to mention the morning after catching so many fish unless the amount of minnows or chumming was significant. Doesn't that seem strange otherwise? Feels like the new guy maybe didn't know what chumming wasn't allowed if you ask me. On top of that, we had the sort of admittance from Chalmers too, and we had no stories aligning until after they got together, and which time they developed the fish god theory. And that the type of seagull minnow show on that lake has never happened before or again. While we cannot actually prove anything, we have confessions and a ton of relatable things at a minimum. It's all incredibly shady. Signed, witness number 1.
Now, who in the fuck comes on a podcast and reads a 7,000 word letter from somebody who isn't even on the podcast?
Chuck, are you going to thank us for being patient for that whole thing? Holy fuck.
That was 1,274 words, and I think I did. I'm shocked with how good I did.
You did a great job reading it.
Yeah.
But why wouldn't you use your words? Why are you putting another man's words in your chumgate mouth?
Because I've already said everything, and it connects back to this story. All we know, we have damning evidence. We have a witness on their side of the argument who is telling us that they chummed. We have a whistleblower.
Just because you've got a great, compelling, well-written letter, Jay, doesn't change some of the facts that we know, which is we threw a couple minnows. Over the years, you've watched too. You've watched people drop buckets in the water. I'm willing to bet there's somebody, if there was that many minnows on the water, which I remember the seagulls, but I don't remember a zillion minnows floating, more abnormally than other years. I'm willing to bet there's somebody in the group being deadly quiet who dropped a tub of minnows that year, and for heaven's sakes, they're not going to say anything. Maybe. To garner that many minnows.
Shouldn't that have leaked over to you because you had your your mold?
But I know exactly how many minnows I threw. I grab a tail in my fingers and I chuck it over my shoulder and we get fishing. I'm not in the business of wasting minnows. I've run out before.
I have to say one thing too.
Here are the facts. Here are the legit by long-winded defense, I did it more for entertainment because I thought it was very well done.
Oh, it's funny.
It's funny. It's
right from the heart. It's right from the heart of
somebody else's heart. But yeah.
Your facts are only your side of the story. Our facts are a witness saying you did it.
All right.
So you tell me what holds up more in court.
Okay. Well, luckily this isn't a court. I think
if you took this to court, the judge would be
I want to say,
don't clog the courts up with this bullshit. Get out of court.
I want to say one thing. I pride myself on this one thing. I have never gone to the boat launch to take out a boat or to put one in at the Derby. I'm always too hammered. That morning, every Sunday morning, when the breakfast is being made, he says that I was quiet. I'm always quiet. I want to get the hell out of there. I'm shaking. I've been drunk for 3 days straight, up till 5 a.m. I want to go home. I don't ever talk.
He was saying you were quiet during everyone was having a little powwow outside there.
Oh, and he's saying he's a chronic alcoholic going through withdrawal.
Yeah,
of course he's
exactly.
quiet.
Of course I'm going to be quiet. Plus, I just...
Where are the other 14 guys?
Yeah, well...
So we chummed. We threw, according to definition.
According to definition, we
were
threw some
punished.
minnows in and we chummed. Yep.
We came back and I won first place the next year with a bait ban.
Boom. With a bait ban.
With a bait ban, I won.
Wow.
So Chalmers got third that year.
So never was Chumgate about Lavin is a terrible fisherman. Chalmers has definitely regressed since Chumgate. I used hyperbole and said
I do not think he's regressed.
I don't think I have either.
Chalmers has definitely regressed. Lavin really regressed this year, that's for sure. But every other year is right at the
throwing insults around
Jay,
now.
Just say one thing. Jay, you called me a cheater. Either continue with calling me a cheater or tell me that I'm not a cheater. Because somebody who chums the water not knowingly cheating, not knowing that it is cheating, not thinking anything of it by throwing one over their shoulder for the gods, and then being called a cheater. I mean, in everything that we do, golf, pickleball, no matter what we're playing, another thing I pride myself on is that I am upstanding. I never cheat. I'm upstanding. I am honest about everything.
I've never seen you cheat in the 20 years of playing golf.
And I don't. And I will not.
So, Jay, I got a question before you continue.
Just going out and calling Chalmers a cheater was part of my hyperbole of Chumgate.
I'll take that as an apology.
Is a chummer. Chalmers is a guilty.
I can live.
We're chumming.
I can live
Chummer.
with that.
We're
I'm just
chummers.
not a cheater.
Your Chuck, for Christ's sakes, wrap this up before I stop listening to this podcast.
Last question, Jay. So where is the line for cheating with you in terms of throwing one over your shoulder for the gods? Was it the amount of seagulls? Was it the volume there? Was it the alleged minnows floating in the water? Where's the cheat line for you on this?
Well, it's all because one of their guys, we saw this weird shit, but we weren't acknowledging as anything wrong. And then one of their guys on the boat said they chummed, and it just makes all that stuff connect and makes it perfect sense.
All right. Jay, I want to thank you for calling in from Amsterdam. Sean, I want to thank you for coming in to defend this. I think as someone who's independent from all of this, I don't think Chalmers is a cheater. I don't think Sean's a cheater. I don't think you're a liar necessarily, Jay. I just think this story has developed over time, and there may have been certain things that have been stretched into truths that maybe aren't as much truth as some expect. So
Sean made one good point that
Holy Christ! No more good points.
No. One more good point.
Every point's been made.
No more points.
Every
no
group
more.
of guys that has these things needs something like this.
Oh, we needed a chum gate.
We need a chum gate.
Love
it keeps
chum
us
gate.
going. It keeps us going. This is why we love each other. It's why we hate each other at times.
Yeah.
But get yourself a chum gate.
Get your chum gate. You did 365 days of fun, and then it resurfaces 4 years later, and you're sitting in a room talking on a microphone
in the middle of a workday.
In the middle of a workday.
That is why Chumgate exists.
Exactly.
All right. I think we wrapped it up in a nice way.
I think we did. Jay, enjoy watching our good friend Jesse Pulja Järvi play.
Oh, can't wait. Thanks,
All right.
boys.
Thank you.
Bring
All right.
back magnets for the fridge.
There was a good amount
will
of there was a good amount of dishonesty there, but where you never get dishonesty is from our good friends at Japa. We're going to hear from them and be right back. Episode 138, Nation Real Life.
Have you got holes to dig, earth to pack, and roads to build? Then you need to call Japa Machinery Group. Does your equipment need a service? You can't fix stupid, but here at Japa Machinery Group, we can fix everything else. With a full range of parts to keep your equipment running smoothly. Japa Machinery Group is a family-operated and Alberta-grown business. Here to help build a bigger and better Western Canada. Give us a call or visit us at japamachinery.com. Japa Machinery Group. Join the family.
Find out coming in.
I thought you liked chum gate.
No, I know.
All right, we're back. Episode 138, Nation Real Life. We were all just laughing as we get back from the Japa break.
What
Jay,
the fuck, your Chuck? Like, we have a nice little hockey podcast going here. We
Yeah.
start bringing in the boys, and
we
they
had Kelly
hijack-
Buckberger on like 2 weeks ago.
Shit, eh? And now we're like, so anyways, this is what happened at a fishing tournament 7 years ago. Like, my God in heaven. If we're going to just start talking about shit that we like that happened in our lives, I mean, this podcast, oh my God, it's called Real Life. Nope, that's fine. You're on topic.
Yeah, this is kind of what you told me that it would be.
Yeah.
And it just took me like 70 episodes to get to something that was.
I think the point that you made at the end that, like, things like Chumgate is what makes stuff fun for guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, yes, fishing is fun, or yes, I like going to the golf tournament or whatever it is with my friends. But really what we like is that we keep the drama alive 365 days a year. It gives us something to talk about, shared experience.
Yeah, absolutely. That kind of stuff is so much fun. But when you're called a cheater and you know that you're not, and then you go and in every golf tournament, when we have these team golf tournaments at the Cup, and then I win them. Oh, wow. Yeah. And you know, they go, oh, well, how do we know he didn't cheat out there? And that thing, I just go, oh, fuck. I know there's a bit of truth in that, right? But yeah, no, this has kept the guys going. You know what? It keeps us. I know a lot of people that fall apart with their friends at like around 30s when they start to have families and stuff. And what's been really good about guys in our group is that we found these traditions to keep us together, and then have these little things inside the tradition that just make us want to go back to it. And I mean, we haven't lost a step. Like, we're all as close as we've been since high school. Yep. And it's really, really important, man. If you find your group slipping away, man, just one little tradition can snowball into anything. Like one little tiny golf weekend, and do it every year, could turn into another, football weekend or something. I don't know. It's important.
As another update from Jay, who is still tweeting up a storm from the Netherlands, he just said, "I just had my David Caruso moment on this episode," meaning the guy from CSI.
Sunglasses, yeah.
Oh yeah.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I think I think that's his gotcha moment.
Man, he's been walking around Amsterdam all day, if you catch my drift. That guy isn't making no sense. Shoot.
Chalmers is puzzled.
Remchuk said that. I know he's not a cheater. I know I'm not a cheater. And you're not necessarily a liar. I think you better pull those sunglasses back up, Caruso. Anyways,
Holy fuck.
Chumgate's dead.
Do you want me to steer this back?
No, you're M-Chuck. Why would we start steering the podcast 48 minutes into it? My God in heaven.
Well, technically it's only 35, 36. Elliot Friedman just dropped, while we were arguing about that, he dropped his first 31 thoughts of the year, and that's always the go-to hockey blog. That's where pretty much any sort of big news gets broken, and two rather interesting Oilers nuggets in there. Friedman mentioning that he heard that there was some interest between the Oilers and Patrick Marleau. The veteran former Leaf wanted to go back to San Jose, was told that's not going to happen. Friedman says that's not going to happen. And then Friedman adds, Jesse Puljujärvi knows that he has to do well in Finland. He has to play hard. He has to play well. He's off to the right start. The Oilers talked with Carolina about Julien Gauthier and Tampa Bay about Alexander Volkov, but didn't get it to where they felt comfortable. Baggedmilk, do you have a thought on either of those?
He's had a big week, man, Friedman, because he had Nuge on his podcast yesterday as well. And, man, all I was thinking about Wanye is we've been doing this a long time. And to think of the shit that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has seen in his tenure as an Oiler, and to be asked about... I was listening to the podcast and what Nuge was saying about Jesse Puljujärvi, and he's just like, it's all unfortunate and blah, blah, blah. And I could just think of like, man, this guy has seen so much dark shit in his 8 years as an Oiler now. And to have him have to answer these questions over and over and over and over.
But has he though? Like, I can't really think of an extended interview with the Nuge I've ever heard.
No, not an extended interview, but what I'm saying about more is like being asked about, he was asked about a new coach again. He was asked about a new GM again. He was asked about a player who may not worked out in the Oilers again. And all I could think about was, when is this going to stop for this guy? But at the same point, he should probably be fucking knighted because he's never once complained about it ever.
And so what was he like on the podcast? I've never heard the Nuge say more than, well, we got the pucks in deep and I'm a baby.
He was interesting. He's well-spoken. You could tell he's articulate. He was well thought out. He thought about his answers. He was calculated in his answers. He didn't say anything that would ever, look poorly upon him or the franchise, as you would expect. And I don't know if that was the format to maybe loosen him up. Quite like maybe, I don't know, like they would on Spit and Chicklets, what they did with Crosby.
I thought you would have said here on Nation Real Life, like they did with Buckburger. But whatever. Shout out whatever podcast.
We cracked those guys right open.
Wide open.
Well, if we get Nuge in here, then he will. But like that was more of like an all business approach. That's what I thought. And it was interesting to me that he's having to do this again. He's the longest serving Oiler. He's answering questions about a bunch of bullshit when this guy should be in the playoffs year after year at this point.
I think the Nuge is the canary in the coal mine for the Oilers franchise.
And yet he's still standing.
But this is why, so goes the Nuge, so goes the room, probably, right? The Nuge has seen the most shit. The Nuge isn't prone to complain or obviously bouts of bad temper. But if the Nuge gets to the end of his career and decides end of his contract and says, I got to get the fuck here out of Edmonton because they're killing me, I think that there'll be other players coming behind him.
I was going to say, if Nuge flees, then I think Oilers fans really have something to start being worried about, because the fact he hasn't says a lot about him.
Yes.
Right? Like 15 years from now, a tell-all book from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, man, about just his first 8-9 years of his career would be fucking so good.
But he's so liquid. He's getting so many sheets. You'll never see a book from the Nuge. The Nuge will write his name in the book of Ballers.
Like, do you see his photos that popped up from Press Week in Chicago? He's looking all dapper. Whew. Ryan Nugent
Button-up
handsome.
shirt and shit, yeah.
I've only seen the pictures from the golf tournament. They look wicked playing some golf out there in those whatever.
Those hats are cool, hey?
Those Adidas ones are actually sweet.
Wicked. And the zip up, like the 3/4 zips, those are sweet.
Yeah, did you watch Dave Tippett speak?
No.
Because, man, I'm all in on Dave Tippett.
How could you not be, man?
Just hearing him speak, the confidence, just the he's a lot more personable maybe than a Todd McClellan was, it seems like, anyway. I'm all in on this guy. I love that.
Can you grab a photo of Tippett and draw several different mustache styles on him? And maybe we can start thinking about what kind of mustache he needs to grow. I feel like we got to get back on the grow a stash plan.
100%.
Because when he saw the Nation truck at that tournament, he was asked point blank, would you grow your stash back? And he laughed. It was like, oh, ha, ha, here I am in Edmonton.
And he admitted his wife likes it.
Stashes are like, I've seen a lot of people that I didn't think would run stashes running them these days. Like, I think they're coming back.
Well, his OG stash, too. Like, he's got the long upper lip, right?
Yeah, if
you can get the big bushy 80s stash.
Yeah, if you can get one of those, like a real good one.
What would be your go-to for him?
Oh,
I like the big.
Clearly, he's got to run a handlebar mustache.
No, I just like the Tom Selleck.
With like wax on the edges and like a giant ass top hat.
Classic Magnum PI.
Yeah, I like the Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
Handsome, clean.
Yeah.
Neat.
And
gonna
can
get
be
any food caught in
stern.
that
Screams
Can be
authority.
stern when you
Yeah.
screams
Stash.
authority.
True.
I just feel like a group of kids would have a hard time taking him seriously if he's got a twisty wax mustache.
Yeah.
They'd probably all start growing them.
I'm thinking he has like a cane on the bench. He like twirls it during the power play and shit. That'd be fucking
You
awesome.
got him as like the Monopoly guy or something.
no, Mr.
Throw a
Peanut.
top hat on
Basically,
him.
I want
Yeah,
Mr.
that
Peanut
guy.
to coach the Oilers.
Yeah, not the top hat, dude.
No. I know what you're saying.
But I agree with you, Baggedmilk. Like listening to him talk, every answer he gives, you find yourself going after like, damn, and I actually think that's going to happen, right? Like he talks about how if they don't prevent more goals in the playoffs, there's going to be no goal or more goals in the regular season. There's going to be no goals for guys like Leon to score in the playoffs. Like those little turns of phrases, they're fascinating.
I saw that you guys were making predictions on the other ON
On ON
podcast.
Radio.
Yep,
Yep.
on ON Radio.
James Neal is what
Basically,
we were doing
James
exactly.
Neal
So I've
goal.
got 22 goals on
saw
the
that.
button.
I saw that.
What do you say?
What do I say?
Yeah.
I say that's if he does that, I think we're a playoff team. But I don't think it's going to happen. I want it to.
What do you think's going to happen then? Put a number down.
He'll be
Come
under.
on.
I'll go 16.
Closer to Nation Dan.
Yeah,
What
Nation
is that-
Dan
is that where
coming
he
in
was
at
at?
17.
17.
So my real question though was, at what point can we start making predictions on how we think this team's going to do? Are you guys already doing that?
Right on the eve of the season starting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll go through training camp, which for me is my playoffs.
Yeah.
Because the Oilers in training camp or preseason in the last 10 years are probably like 82-3.
Yeah.
I come in flying high every season starting. That's when we'll make our exuberant predictions. Then we will write them down, stick them on the wall in the office,
Nice.
and then look at them when we're done.
Okay, good. Because like, there's guys like you guys. You don't need anything to get you motivated to watch this season. Like you guys are looking forward to it right now, and I am just starting to get that feeling now that football's back, and now that my kids are starting to do their evaluations in hockey. It's drumming up, in my head that okay, it's hockey season time coming up. I want to be excited. I really, really do.
We need you to
So
be excited. You're on a hockey
but I'm-
podcast that's mostly about fishing.
No, and I totally understand, and I would like to be excited. And so, other than you guys giving me $1,000 float that I can bet on every game, and that will get me excited. There's only one thing that can happen, and that is for me to have things to look forward to. There is a bunch of people, I am sure, that are in the same boat that I am. There's a bunch of people that are in your boat where they don't need anything.
We don't need anything, do
I'm
we,
just trying
Baggedmilk?
to- I'm
Just
just
a
trying to-
couple of memes.
You guys talking about
I am in peak Kool-Aid season.
Yeah, maybe a Twitter poll. That's
JR
all I need.
is, but like you guys talking about Tippett, that's good. That helps. Right there, I go, okay, so do we have something to look forward to this year? Like, I need something to look forward
You
to.
want to hear all the shit we got to look forward to for the upcoming Oilers season?
Yeah.
Okay, man. I hate to break the fishing news up, your Chuck, but I'd like to speak about the ice hockeys. Okay, first of all, the Oilers had 200-point men last year.
Yes.
When's the last time that happened?
It was like the 90s or
Lemieux and Yager.
something like that.
So when you look at 200-point teammates, except for in like the 80s when everybody was on blow during games, this shit never happens anymore. So you've got a foundation. Connor McDavid is signed for 7 more years. So is Leon?
I think he's got 6 now.
6 more, yeah.
6 more.
That's
right?
good.
So Connor hates it here. Blah, blah, blah. Shut up. He's under lock and key for 7 more years. It's another thing to look forward to.
And those contracts, when they usually talk about paying your 2 top, those contracts leave a lot of money left over for
In the back
supporting?
half, right?
Okay.
So like with Connor's contract, he's the highest paid player in the league at 12.5.
As he should be.
As he should
As
be.
he should be, of course.
But like when you sign an 8-year deal, it's like years 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Backloaded.
Where you're looking, no, it's flat, same every year.
Oh.
But the value increases because theoretically the cap increases. So you're a smaller percentage of your overall cap hit in the second half, or team's cap hit in the second half of your contract. So even if the Oilers are burning through Chiarelli years right now, and they've got 2 or 3 more years till they're done, at some point, the Oilers have a team to build around. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl signed for 4 more years at this point, in the prime of their fucking careers. They had a lot of underperforming players last year, led by Lucic, who miraculously is gone out of the dressing room, who is a huge addition by subtraction to the Oilers. That's exciting to look out
And
for.
as much as I did like Toby Reeder as just a person, player, he was an anchor.
Yeah.
And he was somebody that needed to kind of
Well, he
find
just
a new
didn't do
home.
anything. Yeah.
For sure.
He just didn't do anything.
The
I
Oil,
mean,
though, last year had like spectacularly poor output from their bottom 6.
Historically poor.
Like all league world. Like last time 6 players played that poorly was when the Montreal Wanderers all got the flu and then they died halfway through the year.
44 years, Chalmers.
And so is this golf tournament right now, is this like the start of getting everybody in and then they go start training camp?
Yeah.
Or what is
Rookie
this golf?
camp and just like who's come into town and who's setting up shop for the year, right? So lots of guys who live out of town, they've flown back from Europe now, like
Right.
Draisaitl and shit like that. So then you got this bottom 6 problem. You got some super studs in the top.
Right.
Holland's gone out and pieced together like 8 new prospective forwards to squeeze out some competition in that bottom 6.
Yeah.
So it's not guys like Jujhar Khaira, who is fine. He's a good guy, but he's not coming to the team, coming to training camp with like an assured place.
Or expectations of like, we need Jujhar to score 20 this year or our top 6 is fucked.
Yeah. Holland's got out and gotten a whole bunch of like PTO guys and like random bottom 6 dudes to create a whole bunch of competition for those places that can't help but improve the Oilers' depth.
So what stopped like Chiarelli from doing that in the past? It doesn't sound like this stuff
bad
costs
at
a
his
lot of
job.
money, does it? Like, you know, when you bring a guy in at a PTO, it's not like you have to pay much money.
Yeah. Baggedmilk made a really good point there. Peter Chiarelli was bad at his job.
Yeah, I think
It'd be like Chalmers, it'd be like,
So is it just too much work? Is that why he's bad? Like, is he
It's like-
bad at it because he just didn't want to do the work?
if you got a contract to build a house,
Yes.
and you got me to do it,
Okay.
which would go terribly for you.
Even though he might be trying his absolute best and trying to piece things together,
I brought all my crayons, and I still didn't build a house.
but he's doing his best.
Okay.
And then you bring in someone who's been building houses for 30 years.
Understand.
I
you
think
got
Chia
Ken
was
Holland.
one of
That makes
those
sense.
guys who thought he was the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
And the undergrad entrance exams qualifications at Harvard said he's fairly smart, which remains to be seen. That's why the theme to this show is the Yale fight song. We're pro Yale. I think he just had his guys and he had his theories on players and what he was doing with the team. I just think he was really wrong on a lot of them.
And super stubborn.
Yeah, and unable to defend his position. So when you come out and you say, like, this is what I'm trying to do and it's not working, but at least here's the theory, I don't think he was, like, able to articulate what he was doing. So there was that, like, double disconnect. Why isn't he doing this? Yells everybody.
And so people saying, when I heard just things of when we got Ken Holland, that like, oh, why would we get this old general manager? I had that sentiment. Why don't we move to a younger general manager? This is just a guy that's going to work hard and just is good at his job,
And
regardless of his age,
and knows what it takes.
and knows what it takes.
Well, and it seems like he's got like processes in place that he's going to follow, and that's the plan. The plan is the plan. Whereas Peter Chiarelli, once he started drowning, he was dragging everyone down with him. And I don't get that vibe from Ken Holland, even when he was wrapping up his career in Detroit.
Like, even look at Peter Chiarelli last year. When things started to go bad, it was, fuck, I really need a defenseman now because I didn't get one at the beginning of the season when the Secker was out. Make a bad trade, make a bad trade, make a bad trade. Fuck, I'm doing even worse. What can I do now, right? It was just like snowball. Whereas Ken Holland, if the first 30 games of this season don't go well, I don't think Ken Holland's going to sit there and trade Ryan Strome for Ryan Spooner or Drake Caggiula for Brandon Manning. I think he's going to trust his process a little bit more, and that's a bit of a buzz phrase in sports now. But I think that's what you're getting with Holland, is just a guy who knows to trust in himself and what he can do and what his established process is.
And is that thanks to him being proactive as opposed to reactive all the time? Sounded like you were just explaining that
Yeah.
Chiarelli was basically being reactive at times. He wasn't prepared for shit.
I feel like his theories didn't pan out. Like, I feel like he had, like, in the summertime last summer, how come he didn't replace Sekera's minutes? Well, we've got enough depth in the A that someone's going to come up here and look at Ethan Bear, right? Like, he had an idea in his head of what was going to go down. I just think that he would, like, critically misjudge what people were able to do. And unfortunately, as a general manager, that's, like, pretty much your bread and butter.
Is that like too much trust in the guys underneath him?
Yeah,
and
to me,
not
it was
enough
like-
hands-on work?
To me, he's like, the mortgage needs to get paid, and I've got all these scratch tickets. I'm sure it'll work out.
I'm sure one will pay off.
Yeah. That's what it was kind of like the whole time. And I just appreciate Ken Holland's approach of adding depth, adding people, adding competition. And, I mean, fingers crossed this works out.
There's a reason that Gates and Zuck both dropped out of Harvard, but Chiarelli stuck around and did his undergrad degree, right? Like, the real brains at Harvard are there for, like, 1 year, and then they're out. And Chia stuck it out.
There's only one thing better than saying you're a Harvard graduate. It's a Harvard dropout.
Yeah, exactly.
And then who made it? Like,
Yeah.
who succeeded it?
College dropout, that's right.
Speaking of making it, gentlemen, when you feel like you've made it? When you get a brand new suit from our friends at Indochino. Tyler, you want to head on over there? One of their showrooms, maybe online, Indochino.com. You get measured up, you customize your suit, you pick whatever is going to make you feel at your best. For Jay, maybe he brought his Indochino suit with him to Finland, where he's going with the reinforced ass because he likes to boogie. You too can have a reinforced ass in your suit from our friends at Indochino. Go to any of their showrooms around North America or get measured up online. Store your measurements in the website for whenever you need a new suit. Indochino.com. And within 2 to 3 weeks, you will have a wrinkle-free suit out of the box delivered to your door. Not the door I built, the door Chalmers built. That's how this works.
It's a damn fine ad.
Well
That's
done.
it.
So we got a little bit of time left here. We're going to get to Big Brother talk, but we also have our Nation Real Life Fantasy Football League that started this
let's
week.
do a little update. Yeah.
Chalmers, how did you do in week 1?
Well, I lost.
How many people are in this thing?
Oh, there's 12 of us.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is Rick.
Yeah.
Rick from on ON Radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is Nation Dan is in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yaremchuk's in it.
Big time.
I'm in it. And JR's in it.
Right.
And then the other 7 are listeners.
Whomst.
Yeah, and they just
who's there? The listeners. They got their names in their thing.
You're gonna have to let me get to that.
Okay.
I got questions. Of the Nation staff / all the Nation people, who did the worst?
Well, I mean, I don't study the draft afterwards. I don't know what the draft grades look like.
Neither did I.
But I would have to say that after week 1, I would say that JR is not doing too great. He got pretty badly beat down this week by one of our favorite, Brad Stepankos.
That's my boy.
Yeah, yeah. He took him to the woodshed. I got matched up in week 1 against a guy who got an unprecedented amount of points. It's normal to get like around 120, 130. 100 is like, you could still win with 100. This guy got 175 or something like that.
184.
184. Ooh. That is like, nobody will do that again. That's a tough week 1 opponent.
Who did that?
Ryan did it.
Ryan. Oh, you have it up on
the back
phone?
of Boom's performance, though.
Just will not.
Yeah, the app's being a little bit weird, so I don't actually know who his performance
Shout
was.
out to Ryan.
Yeah, but yeah, big shout out to Ryan. Big shout out to all the winners. Jordan, Nation Dan, Ian, Brad Stepanko, and myself. We were the 6 winners. Jesse, Dave, Chris, Rick, Double Dutch.
That's
Double
JR.
Dutch.
Oh, that's JR. And John. Those were your 6 losers for week 1. So we'll have more updates. I'm taking on Dan this week, so it's an all-nation matchup.
Yeah, and so the other thing's a little bit of the housekeeping. I set the draft in a certain way, and it kind of got a little screwed up because that site is a little screwed up at times. Anyways,
it's not our site.
It was
is
a
it
30. It was a 30-second. No,
Who cares,
you know what?
then?
This is one site where millions upon millions of people use it, and there is some things on there that I cannot figure out why they haven't.
Oh, it is like the Nation. Yeah, it's like.
But
the Nation.
anyways, we had 30-second picks for our draft. I thought the draft went well. It was a 45-minute draft.
Yeah.
It was quick. I mean, it was really quick.
It was real quick.
So anyways, we decided on a $20 buy-in, which is just, for some fun. And we're going to have some other fun stuff that we do throughout the week if we ever
We
get
should
discussing it.
try and bring one piece of NFL news each, bag milk, to these table conversations.
Yes.
Talk about Antonio Brown.
I was going to say Antonio Brown is now a New England Patriot.
What does that mean?
In the greatest Bill Belichick heist of all time, this is what I believe happened. Antonio Brown made a huge stink to get out of Pittsburgh.
Okay, so he's a football player.
Yes. He knew where he wanted to go, but he doesn't get a choice. He got sent to Oakland.
He was under contract?
He was
under
drafted
contract.
by the Raiders, or how did he end up there?
No, he got traded to the Raiders.
From the Steelers.
From the Steelers, but the rumor is all along he wanted to be a Patriot.
Yes, that he wanted to be a Patriot. He wanted to help Tom Brady win another Super Bowl. Anyways, immediately when he got to Oakland, it came out that he had burnt his feet in the cryogenic chamber, which is beyond words how that can even happen because you have to wear shoes. But it happened. He didn't wear his shoes. Number 2 came out that the NFL had said that he was not allowed to wear the helmet that he had been wearing for the last 10 years. It was deemed unsafe. And so he said, well, I'm not going to play unless they allow me to. So he filed.
He burned his feet and needed a new helmet?
3 grievances against it. Yep. Then, during that grievance period, he missed a bunch of team workouts, which unfortunately you get fined for by the team. It's detriment.
Conduct detriment to the organization.
Yes. So he got fined. Well, he didn't like that. So he went to social media and made a huge stink about, he went to the general manager's face at one of the practices.
Called him a cracker.
I heard that's not true.
Called him a cracker?
Yeah.
Punted a football.
And then was at work the
For
next
real?
day. I heard that. I heard there was some JR hyperbole in there. But anyways, the fact is he then... He basically goes to the team and he says, I'm not playing for you. You've taken away all my guaranteed money.
They took away $30 million.
$30
Because that's the NFL, man. Owners have all the power.
How do you take away someone's guaranteed
in the contract? If you do one little thing, man, and they hadn't played a game yet. All this stuff is payable the day he steps on the field for his first game.
All the guaranteed money is day 1 of the season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Regular season.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when he got traded from Pittsburgh to Oakland, he signed a new contract with Oakland?
Yes, he reworked his deal. So it's almost like he went there.
The NFL's
Oakland
wild,
traded
man.
him away. He reworked his deal. Then Oakland was like, okay, we got this guy. But he made these stinks. And the real fishy part about it is that when he asked for his release and said, I will never play for you guys, you took away my guaranteed money, and they gave it to him, Oakland now essentially just lost everything. They lost They didn't pay him anything.
One of the best wide receivers in the league.
Yeah, but they lost the wide receiver, and then they lost what they traded Pittsburgh to get him. Now, here's the real ballsy thing, which happened. About 2 hours later, everybody's just like, nobody's going to sign this guy. He's absolute cancer. And all of a sudden it comes down, Patriots sign Antonio Brown.
How do they have the money?
How did they have the money?
Is there no cap in the NFL?
There is, but you can work your way around it, and like you can cut guys like that.
Yeah. So you can make it work on a 52, 54-man roster, whatever it is.
You squeeze out a couple million in there.
And New England Patriots have always been the team that, like, the minute somebody gets to a certain threshold of money, no matter how good they are, that's usually when they're starting to go on their downslide and their performance. They cut them. They have no loyalty to these guys, and it's why they win. But it's shrewd, right? Like, it's really shrewd. Anyways, they beat, what was it, 50. Baltimore beat Miami 59-3 or something like that, and now New England plays Miami. Anyways,
it's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. Focus on Antonio Brown. He's somebody I think you'd really
I also like that my dog Odell Beckham Jr. wore a Richard Mille on the field.
My God.
And the NFL was like, you can't do that. And then he was like, oh, really? Show me the rule. I'm wearing it again in week 2.
Well, I guess there's something about that they have to wear a NFL-sponsored watch.
Yeah, well, Richard Mille is probably like, thank you, my man.
Is this the same watch that Rafael Nadal was wearing in his match? It is, isn't it?
Yeah, but Rafa Nadal's was worth like $750K.
This is like
21 Savage one time rapped recently that he bought a Richard Mille. He could have bought himself a house because that shit is expensive.
Really? Yeah. No wonder I've never heard of it.
21 Savage?
No, the watch, Richard Mille or whatever it is.
I do like the NFL for the personality. It's just so. Some of these dudes are just so out there, and they would like to have Antonio Brown crowbar his way into a team that he wanted to just by being a shithead. Really?
Well,
I like it.
Do you remember when we talked about player empowerment in the NFL and the NBA?
Yeah, this was
the first example of player empowerment working in the NFL, where a guy did this.
It is amazing to me the PR crisis that the NFL has brought about by Trump calling them out initially and Kaepernick taking a knee. Like, if you'd told me in 2005 Jay-Z doing a deal with the NFL would be controversial and Jay-Z hadn't done anything bad.
Did you hear about the thing that came from that? There's a guy, so the owner of the Miami Dolphins, he had a fundraiser for Donald Trump. One of his players, a wide receiver, called him out and said, like, you can't do this. Like, you say you're for us in, like, you know, in the same rights that we're fighting for, that Kaepernick's fighting for, that this guy Kenny Steele is fighting for. You claim that you're with us and you do things to help us, but then you have a fundraiser for Donald Trump. Like, you can't be that hypocritical, right? And so I guess at the next practice, they played 9 straight Jay-Z songs while they were practicing. And then in his interview afterwards, he had a stereo playing Nas in his locker. Oh, yeah.
Jay-Z is very, ridiculous. Like, he's obviously a very savvy businessman, a very sound brand manager.
Yeah.
He understands the value of brand, I think, before a lot of people did. The NFL must be paying him so much money, man.
So much.
To suffer these slings and arrows and have to be almost the straw man to go out on behalf of the NFL.
Especially when he doesn't need it at all.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised in 10 years if Jay-Z isn't an owner of an NFL team if he can help.
Well, that's the rumor that right when it came out was that, like, this is the first step to him being top of the list the next time a team comes for sale, because these things do not come for sale.
He's doing the NFL a massive favor.
Yeah.
Do we want to end our podcast with a little Big Brother talk?
Yeah. That was actually that was great. I actually enjoyed the football talk more than the fishing talk, which tells me there was too much fishing talk. On this
is what I'm going to try to bring to you. So a little bit more
diversity.
Next week, Jay is going to read a 10-minute rant about the
Cleveland Browns,
the real life football.
Tweet.
So we've had a legitimately meaty Big Brother week.
Okay, so I watched the 2 episodes on Thursday back to back.
Ooh, Wednesday, Thursday, back to back. Nice.
So did I.
That was the biggest celebration I've ever made watching Big Brother, and I've watched almost all of them. When Christy had the right answer, and then had the wrong answer, and then got voted the fuck out.
Yeah,
I was dancing like Descharnais was scoring a goal up the gut in OT.
That is the best possible scenario for Mickey as well. Like, he waited so long. I was yelling at him to get out Christy early. The fact he didn't have to do it that'll work wonders for him in the jury house, because Christy would be the type to go into that jury house, I feel, and just be a total shithead and try to trash him.
For sure.
Sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Okay. Nicole had it. Like, first of all, so classy Cliff through the competition. So classy, right? You see that?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Throws it over to Nicole. Great. She melts the floor like a candle and cries. So fantastic. If she just got up, dried her tears, and been like, Cliff and Mickey are on the block, it would have been, she could have won the game.
It would have been huge.
If she could have beheaded the 5-time head of household champion in her week, if Mickey gone up on the block, I feel like everybody could have been like coached into getting rid of him.
So do you think that by that extension, she made a mistake in putting up who she did?
Of course she did.
Yes, and
Really?
and in these last episode, on Senda's episode, now that she's
She
a couple
knows.
more days down the road, she sees it. And she said, people at home are going to think I made a huge mistake. I thought she made a huge mistake. What I've noticed about this season is there isn't any backstabbing. Like, it's all been front stabbing, right? Or else, like, keeping your word. I totally agree with keeping your word.
There was backstabbing.
But you're in the final 5 right now. Like,
When
it's
the
time to
6
take
shooters
Tommy.
came out
Yeah.
and they got into their early lead, they were literally bored to the point that Chrissy just started turning on everybody because she was bored.
Yeah, but did you notice, like, nobody really backstabbed? It was arguments over hearsay, right?
Yeah.
It was never like, I'm with you, and then I backstabbed you. Like, there was, how many back doors was there? There was none.
Yeah, that's true.
This whole season's been like, everybody's been so nice to each other.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is how the game would look if everybody played with honor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, which is-
but honor doesn't fucking make for good TV.
I love a good
sometimes.
heel turn.
Oh,
So
you
do
got
I.
to.
And so have I been hoping for one? Yeah, I kind of was hoping for one. But the problem is I've really grown to like Cliff, and would be one of the, I think, like the people that would be gone if there was a big time heel turn.
If you remember Cliff getting voted out unanimously,
Yeah.
being sent to Camp Have Not,
Oh, yeah.
then battling back, like that's probably the greatest 1-episode turnaround in the history
Absolutely.
of Big
Yeah,
Brother.
probably.
Right?
That's up
Oh,
there
for
with
sure.
Dan's funeral for flipping your fortunes in 60 minutes, right?
Oh, that was a good one too. Yeah.
I think that my boy Tommy, if he went right now to say I wouldn't even pick Mickey and Holly. I would go to Cliff and to Nicole and be like, do you want to trade your final 4 in for a final 3?
I
Fuck
agree.
those guys.
Well, that's
Absolutely.
that's
100%.
what would have happened. I mean, ultimately, if Tommy won, Cliff and Nicole would have jumped ship in a second. They said it.
Yeah.
And I think that Mickey and Holly would have. Mickey keeps saying, I am loyal to these people to like the end. I think things would have changed in his mind if Tommy had won that.
It
Don't
is
you?
the end.
How about
Right.
breaking up with your showmans
Oh, that was cutthroat.
and then having to stay with your showmans and not give anyone in the house any vibes as any drama because they will split you two up. Like that.
So what's the deal with them? Because you watch a lot of like the live feeds.
Yes, I
you follow along. What's the deal with them?
Oh, it was a small fight. It was their first fight.
I don't know, man. I think this is very much like a marriage of convenience.
Yeah,
And
we talked about that,
yeah,
remember? And you said
yeah.
that, and I kind of started to agree after I
And then I
analyzed it
think
a bit more.
Holly in that show started to become emotional. And then you see what Mickey's like. When he's like, this is how all my exes treat me. I was like, oh shit. He went and dug that well. You never bring up your exes in a fight with your girl. What are you,
She's like,
21?
Are you ignoring
21?
me? And he's like, I am now. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cold.
Mickey has to
ice cold.
basically win every single comp, or at least be not on the block from here on out.
Anybody with 2 cents is not going to take him
If
to the
he
end.
loses anything, he's fucked. Holly
But
will
here's the
take him.
thing: he might not lose anything.
That's the other thing. So the competition that I think is coming up next for the veto is the one where they swing on the swing and they have to look at the.
Yeah, that's the BB Comics. Julie said that's coming up next.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Here I thought I was like some sort of Notre Dame, and he actually
She
said
said
that.
at the end of the double eviction, she said, "And next Wednesday, it's the return of BB Comics."
Let me be completely honest. On Thursday, I helped JR win another trophy this week, and I got home, and this bottle of scotch I had won was half done,
I kind of got into one.
and I had to re-watch the Thursday episode on Sunday because I didn't remember what happened, and so I didn't get to the end of that part.
So quickly, let's say who's your pick to win now, knowing what we know.
I'm still going to, I've been saying Tommy since the start of the season. I
Yeah.
think now he's hooped.
Well, he's just got to win a veto.
He's
right?
got to win.
Yeah, he's not going to win. I think Mickey's going to like bust through the wall, bench press the house, solve a Rubik's Cube in 12 seconds. I would, it's his show to lose.
Yeah.
This is my final. It's going to go. Final 3 will be Holly, Mickey, and Cliff. Cliff will take Holly because he'll win it, or Mickey. No. I'm sticking with this. Cliff will take Holly It'll be them sitting final 2, and Cliff will win it.
Oh, that'd be the best.
I think.
I love Cliff, but I just feel like with his social game and his ability to kind of interact with anybody, I think that he's going to be one of the next out.
Has anyone in the history of Big Brother gone on the show, thought of as a goof, and comes out like a king like that?
I don't think so.
I don't think anyone's ever had their like
How about
reputation
his,
get better.
His sellies?
And then when
money
but,
dance?
so he's doing the
He
dance.
hadn't won so long, he forgot how to do it.
She comes around the corner, immediately stops, and is like, there. Like he was celebrating, but he wasn't gloating. Like Cliff
He's
is
the best.
I think Mickey would be my pick right now. If you like gave me money to put on it, I would probably feel like it's Mickey, just because I think he's going to get to the end and it won't be a scenario like Paul or Dan where they have a bunch of enemies and he's backstabbed a lot. I think like Jack in the jury house like almost feels bad enough about the way things ended with him and Mickey that he'll give him his vote. Him and Nick are good. I think him and Chrissy are still good. He's got too many friends in the jury house at this point to lose, and he's too dominant.
He won so much that him being a dick became irrelevant because he was just never on the block.
But I could also see him getting overconfident, thinking that he's going to come through with a clutch win and then falling flat on his face.
I don't know, man. Like if you watch as the season goes on, and was it who said that like he'd make coffee for people and breakfast
like
for people?
it was Nick.
Oh, that was
like,
Nick.
Yeah, if you see when Nicole wins, Mickey has like upped his psychopath game by 4 or 5
he's the first
notches.
one over there.
He's the first one over, and he's like he has gotten
During
nicer.
the letter, rubbing her back.
Yeah.
I love those little tiny nuances. Like when Cliff is just a good dude, but when they sat down to read the letter, and Mickey was like rubbing her back, and then Holly's like, "Oh, what the fuck's going on here?" So I went and sat next to Mickey. Mickey had to even get closer to Nicole. Like,
he's like, "You want me to bang a third girl on the season?"
But out of the last 7 comps that he's played in, I think he's won 6 or 5.
Yeah, 6.
Like,
Tommy won the veto, and that's it.
And that's it, man. It's
sorry. And Nicole won that head.
Yeah,
also.
so
But
5
that's a double
out of the
eviction,
last
that's
7 comps that he's been in, he's won. That's
If Nicole
staggering.
had put him up because he couldn't do shit because it was double eviction night, that was their last chance to get rid of
it really was. It was
Jackson Mickey.
So there you go. I think I just convinced you guys all that it's going to be Mickey, not Cliff, right?
It would be
Chalmers?
kind of funny though if he does win, and then when he comes
I'm
out into the real world, he takes that shit storm that's coming.
But he'll have 500K.
It would be amazing if he won Chalmers and then pulled his mask off Mission Impossible style and flexed his Spanx and his gut fell out, and Cliff had become Mickey during the season.
Do you think they have?
I thought you were going to say it was Paul.
The beard just goes sproing.
Yeah.
How terrible was Swaggy C?
Oh, he's the worst.
Who cares about these people? Like we
hate
moved
him
to
so
LA.
I did hate him
who
too much.
cares?
And we're still engaged. And did you see when Mickey hugged him and almost knocked him over?
Yeah.
Don't hug me that hard, Bailey says. These two. Why do they bring this back? The only person I want to see bring back is for the final round table with the jurors, Dr. Will.
Dr. Will's the best.
Dr. Will, I wouldn't
love
mind
that
seeing my
part.
boy JC brought back.
I'd like to see
JC
Mike
was
Boogie
great.
too. Mike Boogie was the best.
But you know what?
Boogie.
I was thinking about Dr. Will. Like I was watching some highlights from his seasons that he was on. You know, that's
1 and 2.
15 years ago at this point. He would have taken a lot of shit if that was in today's climate.
For sure. And he now looks hilarious because he's a plastic surgeon and he has gotten high in his own supply. He is froze.
And the one season that he won, he told everybody exactly what he was doing and said, "I'm lying to you right now," and then did exactly that.
He's the best player, I think, in BB.
I thought so too.
You guys have to vote me out. You ever watch that season?
Yeah.
If you don't vote me out right now, I will win.
He like goes on the block one time in the season 2, and he's like, "You guys, you have to vote me out this week. If you don't get rid of me, I'm just going to assemble this crew again and come straight up after you." And they're like, "We're not going to vote this guy out." And he's like, "Why are these people voting me out?"
He would tell everybody he hates them,
Yeah.
like point blank to their face. He cut his own showmance in one of the most cutthroat shit I've ever seen.
Oh, he's the best.
All right. I think that's a good spot to end it. Thank you for listening, for Bagged Milk, for Wanye, Chalmers, Jay, who's in Amsterdam, and also
Sean Lavin.
Sean Lavin. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for coming down and dealing with our bullshit.
Episode 138, Nation Real Life, is over.